this is interesting because I did a little test on myself as to things that were distracting me. So I started tracking my time, which is really important. In fact, let's get to the next slide while I talk about that. It's a fun slide. Warning, this sign is only a distraction. So I'm going to cover 3 ways to eliminate distractions. But what I did was I created this timeline of my day, which not many of us seem to do. So we actually don't necessarily always know where our time is going. And where people say, I just don't have the time, that's usually not really true. It's just that you don't know where you could find it because you're not using time properly. And I noticed I was on Facebook too long. And this is going back like probably 4 or 5 years ago, which actually catapulted my entire career because I became so much more effective. In fact, people would say, how do you get all this stuff done? It's because I've learned to eliminate distractions and invest my time properly. So I noticed things like that were just a total distraction. So what I did is I started to do a schedule. So that's going to be number 1, because time is money, of course, and you need to focus. Do you have a set work schedule? Or are you really just going into each day unscripted and totally winging it? The most successful people design their days either a day in advance or a week in advance, if not more. Because how else can you really be successful on that given day if you don't have the necessary tasks laid out in order of importance in front of you? Now, yes, they need to be interspersed with whatever responsibilities you have on a daily basis. I call them time locks, like if you were having to take the kids to school or pick them up and bring them to soccer, if you work from home and you're not in an office and you have this flexibility. That has to be scheduled into your time and so defined that if you need to be there at 3, you need to put in at 2:30, you're out the door. So you're not going to get on the phone at 2:25 because that's what makes everyone become late and increases your stress. So it's just things like that. Whatever those responsibilities are, they kind of have to be there. So in between and around those, you really need to prioritize your task and schedule your time. Meaning, how can you get things done and how do you chart your progress if you don't have your time scheduled? And of course, there are things that will happen that can interrupt our day. If it's, for instance, same topic, a child is sick at school, you get a phone call, that can interrupt your day, and that's important. And that's all the more reasons to avoid unnecessary distractions throughout your workday. A schedule will keep you focused and give you direction. I want to give you a really simple and unrelated example. If any of us worked at Burger King, we would have to show up for work, punch a time clock, go to work. We get a break, we punch out, punch back in, go to work till lunch, punch back out to take our lunch break, punch back in. We may get another break in the afternoon and we have to punch in and out for, and then at the end of the day, we punch out. We are on a set schedule. Even we learn this going to school. You're on a set schedule. Everything we've done has been laid out for us. The reason is so that it is effective and successful to your learning or to your earning in the case of Burger King, right? Meaning, can you imagine if you walked into Burger King and everyone took their break at noon and no one was there to serve you at the register when you walk in for lunch? That can't happen. In order for the business to run properly and smoothly, they have this schedule. So you should schedule and run your business the exact same way so that it can be focused and it can be very effective. So try and chart your time. You know, a lot of people don't ever keep track of their time or where their money goes. And these are our 2 assets that we have is time and money. Time more important because you can't replace time. You can replace money if you use your time properly. So if you start to track your time and your money, you might be surprised at where you can find more money and find more time. It's the best way to get, your life organized and your business booming, because at the end of the day, you can look back and see what you accomplished rather than saying, oh man, I didn't do that. I didn't get this done. I didn't get any sales, et cetera, et cetera. So following a schedule will always be more beneficial. Next thing is what I call that's a turn off. Turn off technology. What I mean by this is shut down whatever you don't need. Let's say your email inbox, the TV, whatever it is that might be a distraction. And however slight you think that distraction might be, it doesn't matter, because all it takes is really one thing to catch your eye on television or an email to pop up, and then you're distracted because you feel, oh, I have to respond. We have literally been trained in this society that we have to respond immediately to every single thing. The cell phone, text messages, emails. That's not true unless it's really important. So I recommend that when you're doing your schedule, put time in there to check your emails. I always do it once in the morning immediately and then respond. And then after you've accomplished something, let's say money related, you want to go back in and check your emails again because they'll still be there, as will the news, sports, whatever it is that you normally may go to that can be a distraction. And here's the important thing. If you use your cell phone for work, which many of us do, you need to let people know that you cannot be bothered at certain times. When I first started working from home, my friends and family, man, they would call or text whenever they felt like it. I had to actually train them to respect my time by not answering. And it was really funny. The text would go off and, I'd see my friends say, hey. So I ignored it. And then 5 minutes later, I get another one from the same friend that says, you there? And most of you can probably relate to this. And then I still ignore it. And then another few minutes goes by and I get, dude, are you alive? LOL. So I would then tell them I'm working and I'll get back to you later. After a while, everyone learned that I will eventually reply. And if it's really important, which it rarely is, they can call me. Believe it or not, the cell phones do that too, right? They don't only send text messages and emails, so you can actually phone people. So this works so well that even my mom will not call before about 6 or 7 at night. And now this is an Italian mom who worries about I'm the baby, and the only one not married yet. So believe me, if that works on her, it will work on on anyone. If you respect your time, you can teach others to respect your time as well. So try to only use technology that is necessary to making you money. Obviously, we need to be on the internet because we're going to be submitting policies, doing a web share, closing sales. Or if you're face-to-face, you're probably bringing a laptop, and there's probably less distractions, except driving around, you could be distracted as well. So I just want you to keep in mind that just try and turn things off and shut things down that really you may not need essential to your business. The third one, I like this, take breaks. Now, most people are shocked when I say something like this because they're like, what do you mean? You don't want me to be grinding it out, 24 hours a day? No, and here's why. Smiling and dialing when you're in sales, that can be a real grind. So working too long and too hard without some breaks can be counterproductive. That's why the example of Burger King has breaks. Yes, it's legal, but it's also because you get to clear your head, go out and come back to work fresh. So you need to recharge the brain sometimes by letting off some steam, right? But you should schedule this break time in advance, as long as you hit one of the goals you set forth for the day. In the summer, I always schedule my lunch in the early afternoon so I can go out on the boardwalk. If anyone doesn't know, I live right 60 seconds from the beach and the boardwalk. And I do that on purpose so that I can go out. I'm sitting there. It totally allows me to decompress. Stress is gone if there is any. And then I get to come back fresh and get to work. So I look forward to that. In fact, the more you work in between that or before that happens, the faster the time goes by. It's a beautiful thing. So as I said, you shouldn't break until you've accomplished something that, let's say, propels your career forward. Or if you're entirely struggling and you really need to clear your head to come back fresh, which happens to all of us at some point, that's another instance where you can really say, okay, I need to take a break. And that happened to me one time. I had a late gig. I know I mentioned this on one call recently, but I'm a drummer. I had a late gig on a Wednesday night, which was not normal. So Thursday I was beat because I got home like 4 a.m. and I was just struggling. I was like tired. One of the owners, when he came in a little later in the morning, said, dude, you sound really monotone. And which is obviously, if you hear me speak, I'm kind of animated like a Muppet at times. So me sounding monotone was like, what? But he was right. I was just tired. So I had to take a break, wash my face. I got some tea. I don't know if I got something to eat, but I know I got tea for my throat. And got back on the phones with my game face on. So taking a break at the right time can be beneficial. However, after you get your accomplished tasks, the morning tasks, however you want to do it, I normally had goals for the morning, goals for the afternoon with the breaks in between. But after you've hit your, task, it's so much more valuable when you pop on the TV while you eat lunch, or you get outdoors, or just go somewhere for, a lunch to get out, or just change direction for a moment so that you can absolutely come back fresh. So the quote of the week. I hope that message resonated with you guys, because that one's really important to overall success that a lot of people miss, is really respecting your time, scheduling your time, and not being distracted, staying focused. So this one I felt was really, really cool. I'm glad there's a large attendance considering it's the day after a holiday. I appreciate all of you doing that. Quote of the week is about focus. Alexander Graham Bell. Concentrate all your thoughts upon the work at hand. The sun's rays do not burn until brought to a focus. And if anyone as a kid grabbed a magnifying glass and burnt ants, I never did that, but I hear it's kind of common because that's the first thing that popped in my head, I guess. You can see how forceful the sun is, that it doesn't burn us until it's literally brought to a focus. Same thing with your career. Concentrate your thoughts on your success, your schedule, and you will obviously bring your career into a burning inferno of income residually.